Hey there, you're tuning in to LowKey by LowKey, our easygoing sessions for hotel professionals where we chat about industry trends, issues, and solutions.
Hello, everyone, and another warm welcome to LowKey by LowKey, the hospitality podcast where we talk about really exciting stuff with really amazing guests. I want to think we have had some really fabulous guests on the podcast so far, and today is certainly no different. In front of me sits a person that holds a title that is somewhat unique in our industry, which is pretty interesting, and perhaps that makes him the best person to talk about today's topic, which is all about ancillary revenue. He is a very, very friendly and warm soul that we've gotten to know thanks to him living here in Amsterdam, and we are super happy to have him here. Global Ancillary Director of Iberostar, Pere Estela. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Eric. Always a pleasure to be here with you and especially listening to these nice words.
Yeah, no worries. It's straight from the heart. Hey, Pere, if we jump straight into the topic, from your words as an ancillary director, what is ancillary revenue and what do you actually do as an ancillary director?
Okay, as an ancillary director, my goal and my mission is to maximize the revenue from the non-core business, the non-core service. So we call it in the different ways. You also call it non-package income, which is everything beyond the room when you book, or additional services or extra services. We took these words from the airlines industry, and Iberostar showed the opportunity and all the revenue who was not taken care of inside the hotels. And that's why they create this position, and that's why I'm so happy and honored to take it and develop this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I looked around and I Googled just now ancillary director. It's mainly in the airlines that you see that this exists.
Yes.
Well, have you seen a change within Iberostar since this position was implemented? Like what are the key kind of differences that you're seeing since then?
Well, there's one more obvious and the other one more emotional. So the obvious one is that you can see on the profit loss account that you can see an increase, of course, in revenues in services which were not. So all the extra services are increasing. But the second one is a more culture, more oriented to the experience of the guest and to develop new initiatives. So now we are more focused on getting more special experiences for our guests. Yeah. How can we make their experience more enjoyable? And of course, it doesn't have to be included on what they have already paid. So we have more entrepreneur point of view from our team. Yeah. So we were very much focused on service, very much focused on cost control, and now I can see more a company moving towards a more developing and more entrepreneurial culture.
And a culture then where you feel free as an employee to think about what are the needs of our guests and how can we design ancillary services that appeal to them, and that translates into revenue. Is that correct?
Yeah. Okay. Free, I would say free, taking into consideration all the company strategy, the company values, and your resources. Yeah. But yes, in fact, in my opinion, the good decision was to bring somebody from the outside, not from the inside of the company. Somebody who's free to push and free to talk and free to act. Always under certain limits, obviously.
Of course. Interesting. Well, we're super happy to have you here. And of course, who better to talk to about ancillary revenue than you, Pere? If we start with the strategy. So we talk to hoteliers every day, and surprisingly few have a strategy around their ancillary revenue. Most have revenue managers that govern all of the revenue in the hotel. But very few have, specific maybe KPIs and workflows and processes around how do you optimize for the ancillary opportunity. So let's just start with the basics. Why is it so important to have a strategy, do you think, around ancillary revenue?
First of all, it helps you to focus, to be aware of where you are, and to be able to define goals. If you don't have a strategy, I mean, you have no direction. So probably every hotel is identifying certain opportunities, but they don't they are not able to maximize them because they don't have the power of a central strategy that helps them to get the right resources and the right space in the company to develop that. Of course, all hotels are getting revenues inside the hotels, additional revenues, and you don't need a global ancillary director to get revenues.
No.
Most of the clients buy. You don't sell, but they buy services from you, right? The difference in having this position is that you have somebody exclusively focused on this area. Otherwise, this is, I wouldn't say peanuts because this is not peanuts, especially in a big company. But if you have your main core revenue, which is rooms, or your main core operations, which is managing the hotel, and somebody comes to offer you a platform to sell tours in the city, or somebody comes to visit you to rent e-bikes, something like this, in your daily business, probably it's not going to be on the top of the agenda. If your only focus is experience and revenue, you will sit down with these people and you talk to them and you identify opportunities that somebody else focus on the unions meeting next week or in the negotiation with Expedia in the next month. They won't even sit down to talk to these people. And these kind of opportunities are those that help the guests to have a better opportunity, a better experience, enjoy the hotel, enjoy the destination, and you even get a revenue. So imagine, I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah. I love that way of thinking about it. We at LowKey, we always thought about upselling. It doesn't start with generating revenue. It starts with generating a great guest experience that translates into revenue. When you think about, I was thinking we could do something fun here. So when we talk to hotels and they don't have a strategy around ancillary revenue, or maybe they have a strategy and they want to optimize it. Now that you're here, could we create like a simple playbook? So if you don't have a strategy or you want to optimize it, what should you do? And maybe then, I don't want to take the lead, but do you start with the needs of the guest, or do you start with the needs of the hotel, or or the KPIs maybe of the chain, or where do you start at the top level?
First point is to understand and to agree with the top management of the company is how do we understand our hotels? So what's your hotel? Is your hotel a lifestyle hotel? Where do you want to be the main leisure point of the city? Is your hotel it's going to be the best well-being spot in the area? What do you want a hotel to become? Or what do you understand that's your hotel?
And is that based on what the hotel is today, or where you want the hotel to be?
No, where do you want the hotel to be?
Yeah.
So ancillary decisions help the position of the hotel very much.
Yeah.
If now we're in Iberostar, we are very, very much focused on the sustainable tourism model.
Yeah.
So any action I'm doing, it has to be promoting this positioning, right? Of course, not even thinking something goes against, but even promoting.
Yeah.
So every kind of activity which is efficient with energy or kind of electric bikes or these things, of course, it's good. It's for interest of our guests, but it helps to identify that the guest realizes, okay, yeah, that's true what they are saying because I can see it around with the services I can have access in the hotel.
Yeah.
So first of all, what's my hotel, or what do we want our hotel to become?
Yeah.
Understanding that is then which kind of segments I have in my hotels.
Yeah.
So first my vision, and then what do I have now? Are these segments the ones who I'm going to focus? Are we working on new segments? So whatever the decision is, say you have your resources and you have your guest. So understand what's your guest, what would your guest require being in a location like yours? Okay, do we offer that? Yes or not? If we offer that, which is the business model? Is it already included in the booking? Who has access to the service? At which price? Then we analyze very much the guest journey. So to understand how we communicate that, when and how we make this available for our clients. And if we don't have it, which is the funny part, is okay, let's create something new. So it's you have much you should have a very much focus on entrepreneur capacities, because maybe you decide to create something totally different on what you have.
How if in a big chain, how many hotels does Iberostar have? 120 or something?
Around 120.
Yeah, so you're a big chain. Well, compared to many. You're big. Compared to some, you're small, but you're a big chain. You want consistency across all of these hotels. How much local flavor or freedom do you give under that umbrella?
Well, we try to localize every service. Try to have the feeling that you are in that destination on what you are receiving. For example, on the spa treatments and massage, always trying to give some local perception of the aromas or whatever. In the bottom, there's a global strategy, but we can personalize them in every destination according to what they offer.
Yeah, and the global strategy for you, for Iberostar, is sustainability at heart.
That's the bottom value. Everything has to be built.
Yeah.
So there's no question about it.
No.
So you know that, okay, then start working and start planning.
You know, when we went to, going back to Ancillary in Tenerife, it was the best sustainable experience ever. Everything, edible straws, fill up your water bottle with water, and these gentle touches in every touch point that you're one with the ocean.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it was very, very well done. As a side note, interesting. Okay, and when you design this, do you do this? How granular do you do this on a hotel level? Because you mentioned what you want the hotel to be. Like, do you have an example of a hotel where when you started in this role some years ago, you said this hotel is going to become this, and now you're there, and now you say, okay, now we're going for something else?
Yeah, we are. I mean, it's not a drastic change. I've been in position for 4 years. 2 years of them were almost with very low activity because of COVID.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, creating new spaces in the hotel is for me it's a much more effective tactic to give a different perception to the client.
What's an example of that?
Creating a beach club in a hotel that you want to position on a lifestyle segment.
Yeah.
So you can, if you are able to convert a terrace bar in a trendy fashion beach club on the area, that's a driver who starts generating a transition from your current market segments to your desired ones.
Yeah.
Okay. The point is, what's first, the beach club, and then I attract the clients, or I attract the clients and then I put the beach club?
Has to start with a beach club, right?
Yes, otherwise they won't
come.
The same old couples will come because
exactly.
And now we are dealing with that, having a beach club with a client who was expecting a terrace, and we are promoting this change to beach clubs. For example.
I think that's super interesting. So how do you then decide what type of segment you're interested in, or you decide what the hotel should be?
Well, not really. That's more a decision from the sales department. So the sales team has more market information, and I'm getting their feedback. Let's say we want to position this hotel more in this segment than in this other. So having this information for me is the one I need to move the strategy towards one direction or another.
If you implement a very successful beach club, how quickly do you have you changed the market or the segment from like older couples to trendy lifestyle couples, for example? How many years does that take?
We need at least 2 or 3.
Okay,
basically,
that's pretty quick.
Yeah. But we have a big part of our market is tour operated.
Yeah.
So contracts are signed more or less 1 year in advance. So that the first year you basically lose it. The second they start to realize that something different. The travel agencies in Germany say, "Oh, it's not. Is that the place where?" So they start to be getting aware of that. So probably 3 years would be reasonable.
Okay. Very, very, very interesting. Hopefully helpful for everyone listening this. When you think about Iberostar's kind of key ancillary items or drivers, if you are able to share, what are they, and how have you learned to optimize for these?
Okay, the one we start focusing, and that should be the first one for any company. Doesn't matter which is your strategy, which is your position. The first of all has to be, in my opinion, is room upgrade. It's very normal that when the client takes a decision of book a room, probably it's a lot in advance, so they are not aware of. They are not there to feel what they are going to feel when they would be at the hotel, or they book your room through an intermediate. So they don't have all the options. So when the clients arrive, they are in their shorts, their nice T-shirt, they are in a holidays mood, and that's the right moment to say, did you know, or did we tell you that we have these options and these options? So room upsell is basic. I mean, if you don't do room upsell, you are not doing ancillary at all. That's the first. Okay, and then according to the strategy of each company, there would be the second or the third would be in different order. For example, in our case, F&B is a priority. The gastronomy for us is a USP, so we want to focus very much on F&B.
Can I pause you there?
Yeah.
Because a lot of your hotels are not all inclusive, but a lot inclusive. Like you can book what's called a whole board, or when you have all the dining included, or half board, etc. Does that complicate things when you want to drive ancillaries, and a lot of it can be included already in the booking? If you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you have only one type of board, then it's much easier. Whatever it is, but if you have only one, it's much easier because all the team works in the same way for all the clients. For example, all of our resorts in the Caribbean are 100% all inclusive.
Okay.
And even if they already paid for all the drinks and all the food they can have, we have a lot of space to move forward in a more premium services. Okay. The most complicated one is hotels like Antalya, in which you have people from room only, bed and breakfast, half board, full board, all inclusive, because it's organizational issue, not so more on marketing or communication, but it's for the team. The team needs to be very, very smart and to know how to act according to the guests they have in front of them. Yeah. So that's a challenge.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Which one? Maybe it's hard to compare, but which hotel makes more revenue? A hotel that has like Antalya, which is more complicated but provides more flexibility in terms of booking, or one that is 100% all inclusive?
No, the non 100% all inclusive, they generate more revenue.
Yeah, it does in the end.
Yeah, they do,
because of the model of being non all inclusive.
Exactly. Okay. So F&B in a non all inclusive hotels, F&B represents about 60-70% of all the revenue.
Wow.
So if it's all inclusive, you lose 60 or 70% of the.
But isn't that then included in the fee that when you book? But maybe not enough. Is that what you mean? When you book an all-inclusive, is it included in the F&B in that fee?
Yeah.
But to a lesser extent than... I
mean, according from the ancillary point of view, in the hotels which are not 100% F&B, from all the ancillary revenue, 60-70% comes from F&B because they didn't pay for all the meals. So it's obvious that you can have a revenue that in 100% all-inclusive, you don't get it. It's already paid.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get it if they do an upgrade, and instead of the buffet dinner, they have a lobster dinner. So then you have a revenue. But of course, it's much more reduced. But you have other opportunities like rooms, rentals. So there's always a way in which we can monetize the customer.
Fascinating. So you said room upgrades, F&B.
The third, with no doubt, is well-being, spa, aliveness, all these kind of activities.
Yeah.
People, especially after COVID period, people has been more aware about health, about well-being, because of the stress. Now it's people doing or being interested in yoga and mindfulness every time more and more.
Yeah.
So we and many of the companies identified this trend. And now, according to the hotel, we provide different versions of the same services.
Yeah.
Like on the beach, we provide yoga on a standard board, paddle surf, all kinds of activities. And I have to say, it's not only for well-being of the people, but people want a nice picture to post.
Yeah, definitely.
So even if they don't have been doing yoga before, it's cool to be on a beach destination and having a picture in the morning, 6 o'clock, sunrise, I'm yoga on the beach.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
That makes money.
One of our best selling deals was in a hotel in Vietnam, and they had a lot of guests from Korea who loves Instagram. So they created a floating breakfast on a pool, and the Korean guests just bought that breakfast. I don't know if they ate it. Hopefully they did, but it was mainly to take the picture.
Yeah. So just to give you an example, this kind of breakfast wheels already saw it, of course, also in the Caribbean. I wanted to introduce it in Spain. Because of health reasons, we are not allowed to put food on a pool. Just to give you an idea of the limits you can never imagine you're going to have. When I have a brilliant idea. I saw this in Singapore, and then it doesn't work for your country.
No. Hey, Per, a really interesting conversation so far. Just wanted to end, and the bell. We have a few minutes left on this section. Let's talk about the future. So we know that Gen Zs are going to become a very prevalent segment that will travel more and more and will eat up market share from baby boomers like my dad and millennials like myself. And undoubtedly, they have different needs than those two segments. So how does that change your way of looking at ancillaries?
We are quite aware of that, and it's a reality. We cannot still think on the old way of working. Human resources push us very much on being aware of that, because they are the first team who are suffering that in our staff. They realize that the different trends, the different expectations of the company. From our point of view, we focus more on how we communicate with them more than what kind of services they are going to require. For example, room upgrade would, I think it's quite obvious that they would be interested in having different type of rooms.
Sure.
If they do the same type of holiday that we do, otherwise maybe they go to an Airbnb and do something different. But if they come to one of our hotels, they would be willing to improve their experience in the hotel. For example, F&B, I'm sure they would be more and more focused on personalization. So I'm sure it's not funny for most of them to go to buffet with 60 tables and everybody eating the same at the same time in the same way. So I think the way in which we're going to change is on delivery. Communication and delivery, not on the areas. Well-being, F&B rooms would be the same ones, but on the way we provide the service, I think there would be the big difference.
Yeah, I think that sounds, and it makes sense. And your core thing around sustainability is still very good, because that's what they really care about.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing. Okay, interesting. And how do you think on the room upgrade side that you will be able to deliver that differently?
My opinion, according to all the trends we can identify in the market, I'm sorry to say that I will see a drop in ancillary revenue at the hotels, because with more technology tools and transparent market, probably the guest would be able to take the decision early before arriving and not in the hotel. They do it now in the hotel because they didn't have all the access to all the information in the right moment, in the right way to take the right decision. So in my opinion, room upgrades on the hotels are due to a lack of an efficient market. When this market would be totally efficient, the percentage of room upgrades on ancillary might drop a little bit. But anyway, the client will have what they want because they book it before. It won't be ancillary, but it would be part of our business. So
why would it not be ancillary? Because they could still book on the website and then pre-arrival buy it then, right? Or
yes, but on the way, for example, we work now with a very, very interesting, very cool initiative, startup company. It's called Hotelverse. Hotelverse, they provide a service which is a real booking experience. So you don't book your room through category. You book your specific room. You visit your virtual room.
Yeah.
So if you have access to this tool to see all the hotel, you will book the room you want. Unless during this period you got divorced and then you come with another purpose to the hotel, or you get millionaire and you want the presidential suite for a week.
Sure.
But if you are the same, expecting the same and looking for the same, and you have access to all the information, probably you book the right room. You won't have to wait until check-in to do this process.
There we go. Thank you so much, Per. Very, very interesting conversation so far. The next section of this podcast is a shameless plug. And the floor is yours, Per. You can brag and market and plug anything that you like, personal or professional.
Okay. I was thinking to one of my best moments, and the reason why I'm here today is because I was a windsurfing instructor. And let me explain it to you. I was supposed, when I finished my degree in business and management, I had not interested at all in travel and hospitality. Those were the 90s, where everybody wanted to become an investment banker or a consultant guy. But for different reasons, I was working on the beach for 2 seasons. And there I met a VP of TUI Group who started introducing me to travel. And then because of him, I learned about it. He hired me and I got into this industry. I met my wife, and then everything happened because of windsurfing. So I always am very happy to the ocean and to the windsurf, because that's how am I today. It's thanks to windsurfing.
Beautiful. I think that's so nice. And one thing I've learned from getting to know you over the past couple of years is that you're also very much into meditation and visualization. I think that's really, really amazing. Pere, it has been an absolute pleasure having you here. We've learned about a lot of things. When you think about creating your playbook, you should think about what hotel do you want to be in the coming years? Are the guest segments that you're having today the right ones for that hotel, or should that change? What business model should you have in terms of selling ancillary services and packages together with a room or not? And how does that guest journey look like so that you optimally can benefit from offering guests what they want, when they want it, and at the same time generating revenue? In terms of Iberostar's key learnings, room upgrade is at the top, then F&B, then wellness, with a big foundation of sustainability always at the core. And we also learned that the future holds a lot of changes, specifically how we offer something. I really agree with that. I think Gen Zs will still like at the core the things that make life special. They just want it somewhat differently. I think that's a very, very nicely put. And then thanks so much to the ocean for bringing you to the travel industry and eventually to our studio here at Amsterdam. Thank you so much, Pere. It was a real pleasure, and I hope to have you back sometime soon again.
Whenever you invite me, I would be here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.